Guys, welcome.
What's up, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Good, bro.
Long time. It's always a long time. Guys, thank you. Subscribe, like I always say. Comment, like. I want to get more comments happening, eh?
Yeah.
So we can engage with you more, man. I know we're still small. What is it at? 215, 216?
216,
It's growing, guys. Whoever's subscribing, you guys are absolute legends.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Let's get on with this, yeah? Number 31, bro.
31.
31.
Parts, yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you want to just do parts? Or just start from number 1 again? All the way to 15. All right, we'll start number 1 so that's easier.
Yeah.
Okay, number
1.
Okay, he wasn't asleep. I often visit Walmart in the wee hours of the morning. One time I went in about 2 a.m. and noticed an elderly gentleman asleep on one of the mobility scooters at the entrance. When I left about 20 minutes later, he was still there. I thought it was a little odd. No one from the store had woken him up, but whatever. Found out the next day he had died and spent the better part of the day on display as a corpse at the entrance to Walmart. Oh, wow. Could you imagine they're walking past?
Yeah.
They're thinking he's asleep, he's dead.
But he's dead.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Oof. Number
2.
Okay, dead cats. Years ago when I was a senior in high school, I had a day where I wasn't feeling too great. So I decided, as occasionally did, to skip out on my last 2 classes and head home. We've all done that. That meant no school buses, obviously, so I would just walk the 3 miles home. It's about 5 Ks.
Yeah.
Okay. Before the age of computer cell phones, this was pretty long, boring hike to take, so I decided to take a shortcut through some small wooded trail along the creek. Eventually, I came across a dead cat lying in the middle of the trail. As I walked around it, I noticed another dead cat to my left. Looked to my right, and sure enough, there was another. Creeped out, I looked behind me and noticed 2 more, and yet another 2 in front of me. They were all laid out in a giant circle with one in the middle, almost like a half-assed pentagram. I speeded up the pace and got the hell out of there. Never took that trail again. Thinking back, a really weird thing is that there was no visible damage to any of the cats, to blood or cuts the dead. But that's pretty crazy. It's like magic shit, man.
Yeah.
Who knows? Probably Satanist.
right.
You never know, man. Okay, this is number
3.
Yikes. I worked for Radio Shack back in the late 90s. I think it's a radio in America or something, yeah? Okay. And I was scheduled to open on a Saturday morning. I'll go in the door, lock up behind me, and go to the back to get things ready, only to see my boss sitting at the chair in the back with his tie around his neck and tied up to an inventory rack with his pants around his ankles, and he's dead with his still erect dong in his hands.
What?
That is the day I started drinking heavily.
What's a steel erectum?
Look, he had a hard on while he was dead. I just want to know,
Sorry,
is this person a female?
Yeah.
Number
4.
Okay, R.I.P. Max. When I was 12, my cat went missing in the summer. We lived in the country near a lot of farms, and he was an indoor-outdoor cat, but he would come home every night for his dinner. He hadn't shown up for 2 days, and I'd been roaming around the fields looking for him. The second night, I had a vivid dream where I saw him lying on his side in a field dead with his neck snapped and his tongue hanging out. The next morning I went out as soon as I woke up and walked exactly to where his body was in a field about 600 yards from my house where I hadn't looked yet. He looked just as he did in my dream, down to the position of his body and his tongue being out. We figure he got his neck snapped by a coyote. Creeped me right out, and I strongly believe that dreams can tell you things. If you only pay attention, since then I've had other dreams that have come true or warned me of things. But this was the most vivid. It was like a photograph, and 20 years later, I could still see the image clearly in my mind. R.I.P. Sweet Max.
Shit.
Bro, I kind of believe that, bro. You know what I mean? Sometimes dreams, I think,
Can come true.
100%. 100%, man. Why do we have dreams? Exactly. Number
5.
You sure? No, buddy, I'm absolutely... buddy, what is this? What's that? Okay, number 5. Then who was security? Security at my old building came by to change the locks. Then a few hours later, security came by to change the locks.
What?
So who was security?
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy, man. Wow, that is pretty creepy. Anyway, don't worry about it. Here we go. We'll do it. Number
7.
Is it 7?
Yeah.
You sure?
So that was 6, huh?
Yeah, number 7. Cat, I'm entering a disclaimer. It was not a mountain lion. I live in the sticks in Michigan. Imagine they're all American as well, eh? But a decent sized neighborhood with about 20 houses. Our streets make 2 circles. I was home with my toddler who was taking a nap. I'm on my back porch drinking coffee around noon. There's a piercing scream that seems to last at least 30 seconds. I'm startled, so I go out of my fence and walk up my driveway to look around. There's a man hauling us down the street, cradling his arm and dripping blood on the concrete. He sees me and shouts, "Did you see that fucking cat? Which way did it go?" I saw no animal. I asked if he needed help, but he declined, saying an ambulance was on its way and just needed to find the cat. Perplexed, I pull off my long sleeve and hand it to the guy, telling him to at least wrap his injury. He holds up his arm and his fingers are mangled. A house cat did this to you? As I gently help him wrap his hands. This wasn't a regular cat. We just have to find him. So I help him look. So do a few of our other neighbours. Ambulance arrives a few houses down at his place. So we walk down and sit on the curb. Suddenly, commotion from the other way and half a dozen people sprinting to the cul-de-sac to corner this animal. It disappears around a house and we hear a volley of barking. Another man comes from behind the house running at full speed towards the ambo. I'm still sitting with the bloody guy and running guy gives him a tissue. I almost fainted and probably would have if I was standing. In it was bloody guy's thumb and first finger with a bit of tissue and nasty. Oh, wow. We never caught the cat and I didn't get a good enough look at whatever it was to figure it out. Bloody guy said he was weeding his garden and this giant black fuzzy thing with teeth and a tail chomped his hand under the bush and ran. He tried to follow it, but it was too fast. He said it stood taller than his knees and was like 6'5". Far out. Got his digits stuck back on properly though, and he's since fenced his backyard. That's pretty crazy, bro. That's good. What are we at now, bro? Number
9.
Stacy. I was dating a girl in high school. Let's call her Stacy. During senior year, we got senior release during lunch, which meant we could leave school during one lunch period. Being horny teens, we went back to her house and she started giving me a BJ. There's nothing scary about that. Suddenly, we both hear someone call out Stacy. We both jumped up and got dressed. No one was home. Both her parents were at work and her siblings was at school. We looked outside. No neighbours were outside. To this day, we have no idea who or what it was. We both heard it. That's pretty freaky, man. I was just wondering, does he still get the BJ?
Yeah, that's... Would you be scared about? Like, imagine you're getting it.
What would you do if you're getting a BJ, bro, and you see a ghost in front of you?
Fuck. Bro.
What number is this?
Number 10.
What would you do?
I'll do the same thing. I'll grab it and I'll launch it and I'll run.
No, I'll probably keep going, bro.
You're a funny guy.
Did it? All right, number 10, yeah? Haunted tattoo shop. Worked in a tattoo shop where 2 of the past owners had died. One of them died just a block away from the shop, and it was long rumored that the shop was haunted, cursed. Weird stuff would happen, like speakers, decorative knives falling off shelves overnight and smashing through our glass top light table, and the lights would flicker on and off. One late night, I was alone in the shop tattooing some 18-year-old kid, and the light above me started flickering. My lights above my station had always been perfectly lit, so this seemed unusual. It was flickering so much that it was starting to get annoying, and I began to feel nervous. Even though I really didn't believe the shop was haunted, I finally, after a few minutes of this, I stopped tattooing for a second, looked up at the light, and said in my head, "Okay, dead shop owner's name. I get it, you're here. Can you stop messing with my light, please?" It was supposed to be kind of a joke. The light stopped flickering instantly. It went back to just shining regular old light, and I went back to tattooing. Pretty shaken up from that moment. I knew the dead shop owner was there, and I knew he was just causing occasional mayhem to fuck with us. Nothing malicious, but definitely haunting that place. Fuck, that'd be pretty freaky,
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, here we go. Number
11.
People are scarier than ghosts. Sorry, bro. I used to work at a Boy Scout summer camp. Every week I had to take a big group of campers to a secluded spot for their wilderness survival badge where they had to build a shelter out of sticks, leaves and whatever, you know what I mean? And sleep in it overnight. The spot was only about half a mile from the main camp, but we took them a route that made it seem really secluded. Anyways, On this one night, all the campers had made their shelters. We had cooked dinner. We were all just sitting around the campfire. It was getting late, maybe 11. So I sent all the campers to their shelters for the night and started cleaning up the fire. That's when we heard in the distance what sounded like church bells. They were pretty faint, but myself and my fellow staffers could definitely hear them. They went on for about 30 minutes, ringing over 30 seconds. Also, we were all a little creeped out as there were no churches or towns within 20 miles. After the bell stopped, though, the singing started. It was too faint to hear the words, but it sounded like church choir music, but a lot of people and a lot of enthusiastic. Also, it was almost midnight at this point. The singing went on for well over an hour, sometimes quietening down until we almost couldn't hear it. Sometimes getting so loud we thought it was getting closer. All of the campers were super creeped out, but I lied to them, telling them that there was a church service going on and that there was nothing to be scared of. Eventually, at almost 1 a.m, the singing stopped. I found out a few days later that there had been a large KKK rally on only a few miles away. Far out. Could you imagine you're coloured?
Yeah.
You're gone, bro. What's the issue? It's charging.
Can you hear it? I thought it was speaking. Didn't you hear a girl's voice?
Really?
I heard a girl's voice, bro. That's why I told you. That's why I looked
I
at
couldn't
it.
hear it at all.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
What's this? Number what?
12.
12? Are you sure you're not skipping? Guys, if we've skipped numbers,
Sorry.
I apologise. You've missed out on like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah. All right, number 12. Co-worker. Just co-worker. This isn't creepy, but it gave me pause for thought. I was returning to my office having finishing a meeting. As I approached the door, I saw my colleague walk from the left of the office to the right, presumably returning to his desk. As I entered the office, I started to say, "Hey, Ma," stopping abruptly upon the realization that there was nobody else in the office with me. I'm not sure what exactly I witnessed, but it was clear enough and detailed enough to convince me 100% that my colleague would be in there. Hey, Ma. Must be Mark. Mark was at home. He had a thing for Mark. Number
13.
Ah, he's got it right. All right. At least it wasn't the other way around. Oh my God. At least a few months ago, I had this really scary dream that seemed so real. In my dream, I was in bed doing something on my laptop. Suddenly, I just had a bad feeling something wasn't right. Like I somehow knew something was in my room with me that shouldn't be there. I jump off my bed and hurry and flip my light on. I flip it on and just in time to see this weird black shadow sphere thing with legs zoom under my bed. I woke up scared and crying, but it felt so real and I just knew whatever I saw was very evil. The next day, me and my dad were watching one of those ghost shows like My Ghost Story on TV. In the episode, this woman was in her room and all of a sudden she felt like something wasn't right. She turned her light switch on just in time to see a weird black shadow sphere things with legs scurry under the bed. It pretty much looked exactly like the thing I saw in my dream. I flipped the fuck out. That could just be what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that can't, I don't know. It's who knows. Number
14.
But then who was phone? Doesn't make sense. Anyway.
Then who was phone? Is it home, maybe?
But then who was phone? Yeah, maybe. Working late in the lab at school, I had to grab something from an upstairs classroom. It's after midnight and the entire building was empty and dark. Suddenly the phone in the classroom starts ringing. So after the heart attack, I decided to answer it. Silence, not even a dial tone, so I hope out and go back to my dorm. The next day, I have class in that room, so I asked my professor how often people call the classroom phone by mistake. He looks at me funny and says the phone in that room has been disconnected for years. Oh, bro, that would have been horrendous. I would have burned that phone. Far out, that's too much.
Fucking hell.
Last one, Richie. Number
15.
Let's go. The murder chair. Took my 3-year-old daughter on a hiking trail through some local woods. I let my daughter lead the way and she chose to turn up a path that was far less well trafficked than most of the trails in the area. About 10-15 minutes in on this overgrown and barely there trail, heading deeper into the more isolated portion of the forest than I'd ever been to previously, we came across a grisly sight. A white plastic lawn chair tied to a tree by a rope. The seat covered in splatters of days-old dried viscous fluid. I snapped that pic and then picked my daughter up and knocked the fuck right out of there. After the fact, I've come to a far less creepy explanation for what we saw, but in the moment, it was creepy as fuck. Fuck, bro, that would have been...
Fuck.
Could you imagine you go for a walk and you find something like that? Like, could you imagine you find, like, say you're going here, because we're in Australia, Sydney, right? Blue Mountains, sorry, bro. Blue Mountains. You go on one of them hikes over there. Could you imagine you see a finger there with like a saw, hacksaw, hammer, and like blood, and you see someone just like down there having a cigarette?
Yeah.
What would you do, bro? Would you get the hacksaw and self-defend yourself? If you run,
No, chase
he could probably chase you, hear you. Do you grab those things and run just in case it does chase you? You got back up.
I might grab that thing, like, just in case. And I will think.
It's freaky, man.
What would you do?
I don't want to say. But that's he. Anyway, guys, thank you, guys. That was part 3.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Subscribe, like, comment, everything, and then hopefully we'll see you soon, yeah? I can't even bother saying it.
Ooh.
See you guys.